So you're thinking about making a move to San Antonio, Texas. In this video, I'm going to show you around all the amazing family-friendly activities that San Antonio has to offer. There's going to be paid activities and free activities, so you want to make sure you stick around for the full thing so you can make sure you can check off every single one of these activities to do with your family. We're going to get after it right now. First time to our channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in San Antonio and its surrounding areas, make sure you subscribe or tap the bell for notifications to ensure that you are one of the first to be notified when we bring you a new market update. My name is Katie Powers, and my husband Stephen Garza and I get phone calls and emails from people just like you every single day who are making a move to San Antonio or looking to buy or sell real estate right here in this great city of San Antonio, Texas. Whether you're 6 days or 6 months away from making that move, we would absolutely love to hear from you. All of our information is listed right below in the description box. You can email us, call us, or even book a time directly on our calendar so we can meet face-to-face via Zoom. Whichever way you choose to reach out to us, we would absolutely love to hear from you, and Steve and I would be honored to be your realtors of choice. Now let's dive into all the amazing family-friendly activities to do right here in San Antonio. All right, so we're looking at San Antonio on a map. In this video, I'm going to be showing you around different parts of town because there's honestly something to do for every single family, no matter what part of town you're on, whether it's paid or free. So let's start off with all of the great activities that are not free, okay? So number one, really like the top three, are gonna be your big theme parks. So you have Fiesta Texas, which is right here off I-10. So Fiesta Texas is right here. And then you have Seaworld down here on the northwest of San Antonio. And then you also have Morgan's Wonderland, which isn't as big or well known, but that is going to be on the northwest side of town, right over here off of Thousand Oaks, right before you hit I-35. So these are all great theme parks. Of course, you also have Schlitterbahn, which is in New Braunfels, which is going to be right off I-35, a little east of San Antonio, about 25-30 minute drive. Not a long drive, but definitely a great theme park you want to check out. So right here off I-10, you have Fiesta Texas. This is just a great time. If you've never been to Six Flags, a Six Flags theme park, this is definitely one you want to experience with your family. Now, personally, the summer is rough. It's hot in San Antonio. So you'll definitely want to go early in the morning or late at night, unless you just don't care about sweating. And then summer is a great time for you to go. But fall and spring is really a great time. The weather is perfect. And on a day like today where it rained earlier and your high is only about 85, it's a great Fiesta Texas day. So tickets are starting around $29. I don't know about you, but I've never gotten away with going to Fiesta Texas for $29. My son is a teenager and he goes with his friends, and I probably spend around $100. I buy him a day pass, and then I get him like a burger and drink combo so he can eat when he's there with his friends as well, and it ends up being right around 100. So you can get season passes. Of course, you want to check out their website. But they do give passes and do it for a low monthly fee now. That's something different. But sometimes when you just buy a day pass, you'll get a text or a call or an email from them, depending on what information you fill out. And they will offer you a season pass for a discounted price since you've already paid for one ticket. So definitely a great park you want to check out. We also have Seaworld, which is a great park. And they added a water park attached to it called Aquatica. So if you do get season passes, I would highly suggest you do SeaWorld plus Aquatica, because if you get tired of the SeaWorld shows, you can always jump over to Aquatica and beat the heat with all of the great water activities. It's pretty comparable to Schlitterbahn, just a smaller water park, but really a great water park. They have a ride where you go under like a big tank of stingrays, which is kind of cool because you go underneath it and you can see them all above you swimming around. So pretty cool. This is also a great place. Like I said, you'll want to get a pass for the summer with Aquatica attached. That would be my suggestion. If it's too expensive, totally up to you, but a great park nonetheless, great activities to do. Now, the other big thing, if you have kids under the age of, let's just say 12, because if you've got some younger siblings and your oldest is 12, they'll probably still have fun. But if your oldest is 12, this is not for you. But this is called the Doseum. It's a children's museum and it's amazing. So tickets are about $18 for kids and adults. Of course, kids under 1 are free. And they do have memberships, so you can do season passes or year passes for the Doseum, and you do get discounts if you're military. They've got a bunch of different discounts for admission that you can always check out on their website. But this place is amazing. It's a kids museum, so there's just like everything. You can just let them go crazy. There's arts and crafts, stuff that they can do. There's lots of science activities that they can do. And every kid ends up loving and playing with different things. It's really fun to see. Like my daughter loves the grocery store portion. I don't know how to tell you. She's like a miniature mommy. She loves to boss people around, but she loves the grocery store section of the Doseum. She will just go in there and pretend to check people's groceries, and that is her jam. Where the boys, like when my oldest was younger, he loved the arts and crafts. He was there all the time. I've seen my middle child, he likes science. So he's gonna do more of the like science things. You can pretend to be a weatherman and see the screen behind you and stuff like that. So lots of different science things, but just activities, and it's all hands-on and you don't have to worry about them breaking anything. It's just a great time, and they will, like, their brains are staying active and their bodies are staying active. So Doseum is a great place, definitely to beat the heat. So a lot of these activities that I bring up are about beating the heat, because when it's 110 degrees outside, sometimes the pool's just too hot too. Or if you've done the pool for like the last 3 weeks, you might want to do something indoor. So the Doseum is a great place. There's also another museum called the Witty Museum, which is not far from the Doseum, but it is closer to downtown. So you have, zoom in. So right here off of Broadway, so it's downtown, very close downtown. Downtown's like right around here. So you're just north of downtown, close to Alamo Heights. You've got the Doseum right here, and then you have the Witty Museum right here, and then you have the zoo. So all of these things are right close together, and then you have the Japanese tea garden. That's fun, but the kids might get a little bored. So I would stick to the zoo, the Witty Museum, or the Doseum. All of those things are great family fun activities. The botanical garden is fun too. They have a little splash pad that the kids can play in, but that's probably like a half day. The kids might get a little bored there too. But the Doseum, the Witty, and the San Antonio Zoo, that's like a full day event. They could spend the whole day at those places and have a blast. The zoo is really, really great. You have different ticket prices. $32 a person is pretty average. Of course, you can do, again, membership packages per month if you go frequently. We have done that for our younger kids because they love, and when I say love, they love the zoo. The zoo has grown a lot. They've got a lot of great new cages. That sounds bad, cages, new like facilities for the animals, and they're really interactive. Summer's kind of hard if you're going middle of the day. They're pretty hot, so they're like lounging around, not very active. But if you go in the morning, they've just fed them, and so they're more active and moving around. And if you go, and sometimes when you go early, I know you can do it in Seaworld and the zoo, you can pay to feed the animals. So like if you go early enough at SeaWorld, you can go and feed the walruses or the dolphins. And same with the zoo. If you go early enough, they'll let you feed or help feed some of the animals. So fun experiences. They have lots of different stuff. The zoo also has camp in the summer for a week at a time. My kids definitely do that every summer. They've been doing it for a long time. They might, you know, my middle child might be getting a little older for it, but still loves it. Great activities, super fun, and you get to like explore the zoo all day long, and they keep you busy. So they're tired. When they get home from zoo camp, they are tired. So also a great activity during the summer, but year round, the zoo is great. They have activities like for Christmas, they light it up. I mean, it's just so beautiful, and they do parades. Same with SeaWorld, Fiesta, Texas, they do themes. So like if you like to be scared or your children like to be scared, I'm not a fan, but that doesn't mean everybody else isn't. For Halloween, they do like a spooky theme at Six Flags. It's definitely scary. Like my teenager loves it. The younger kids would be scared. SeaWorld does it as well, but it's not as scary. And then they do Christmas. So they just do themes based off the season. So all of those things are great. Those are like your main big attractions for San Antonio that are paid. And then you have a whole bunch of stuff that are just activities. So if you're looking for like a couple of hours or something to do with the family, you've got lots of arcade places. So you've got like Main Event, and there's like 3 main events in San Antonio. You also have Andretti, indoor games. I mean, it's basically indoor go-karting. I don't know, my middle child just got to do it and he was like ecstatic. It was so much fun. So they have all of where you can race inside, which is kind of cool. And then they have a ton of arcade games. Maybe that's a better photo. So lots of arcade games, and they have like a zip line and things to do within. But this is very similar to Main Event, just without the go-karts. So you can have bowling and arcade games and those types of things. They actually put in a huge arcade in North Star Mall that just opened. It's like massive. I haven't even been to it yet, but it is like, looks super cool. So that's also a great thing to do, right? You've got shopping. Not a lot of kids like to do shopping, so I didn't add it to our list of family fun activities. At least my kids don't. If I say I'm gonna go shopping, they're like, no, thank you. Okay, so then you also have in this, you have the iFly, where if you, I don't know why it's not coming up, there it is. iFly indoor skydiving. So they actually, it's like a simulator where you get to do skydiving inside. That's kind of cool. My teenager really, really loves it. Did it for his birthday a few years ago. So you have that activity. And then you also have, gosh, there's so many things to do here, guys. You also have trampoline parks. So Urban Air, Airtopia, these are all great activities. They are massive buildings with so many trampolines. The kids go insane. They have rock walls to climb and jump off into the pit. Lots of fun things. Steve and I like these places because they also serve food and drinks. So the kids can go crazy and we can just kind of hang out and lounge around. Sometimes I bring my laptop and work. I'm not gonna lie. So you have Urban Air, and then you also have Airtopia. There's multiple ones throughout the city that you can take advantage of. But overall, a really great way to beat the heat and burn your children's energy. That's what I'm all about. We gotta burn the energy so that they don't drive you crazy. And then you also have, and this might not be for everybody, so I'm just listing all the many activities that you can do. Closer to, it's not really this. I guess it is kind of the south. When you get into southwest San Antonio, you have Trader Joe's, which is like a massive flea market. And I know kids won't necessarily like the flea market, but they do have carnival rides year round. So they have, you know, like you can go get a corn dog and cotton candy and all the carnival snacks. And then they have little kiddie rides. So not like Fiesta Texas rides. We're talking little kiddie rides. But also they have, it's so much fun. There it is. Trader's Village, not Trader Joe's. Trader's Village. I don't know why I call it Trader Joe's, but Trader Joe's is a grocery store. Trader Village is the flea market. So it's huge and it's covered, which is really great. And then in the fall, they have a corn maze. It's really, really fun. So you take the kids, they can go through this corn maze. They also create like little cannons that you can put apples in and shoot out apples out of these cannons. My kids love it, it's super fun. And then they have like all the photo op things, you know, like the boards that you can stick your head through and take photos. So that's a really fun activity in the fall, but year round, they have the flea market. It is a drive unless you live on the west side of town, because it is a little further southwest, just below Lackland Air Force Base, but you do have that, and it is a free activity. Like it doesn't cost you to park or go, but if you are going to do the carnival rides and those type of things, that's why it's on our paid list, because it does cost to do those things. And then I also want to hit on Morgan's Wonderland. So I know I mentioned that it is over on the northeast side of town, but I really want to hit on it because it is such a special place. It is not like Six Flags or Seaworld. I mean, it is, that's the point of it, is to be a park. But what's so special about this park is it is designed for special needs. So if you have a child with autism or you have a child in a wheelchair, these have rides that are wheelchair accessible. It literally gives me goosebumps. Every time we go there, I love it so much because it's inclusive. I love that children that are in wheelchairs or have, you know, a learning disability or, you know, some type of disorder are still able to experience kid things and be treated just like everybody else. So I love it. It's such a great cause. And it's way cheaper, like way cheaper than Six Flags or SeaWorld. And it's a great time. So even if your children are not disabled, it's still a great park. A lot of the schools here will take children on field trips to Morgan's Land because it's cost effective and it's all inclusive. So everybody can find something to have fun. And they just added a water park. So I think this is kind of the water park over here. You can kind of see it. And then this is the normal Morgan's Wonderland with all of the rides and stuff. They're not big rides. They're not crazy roller coasters. They're smaller, but they're safe and they're inclusive. So lots of fun activities. This, like the splash pads, has a lazy river that goes all the way around it. Just lots of great activities to do at Morgan's Wonderland. Absolutely great cause. You don't want to miss it. You definitely want to make sure you take your kids there and they'll have fun regardless of their age. I mean, of course, you probably want them under the age of 13 here because I can't even imagine my teenager wanting to go, but he never wants to go anywhere. When they're teenagers, they're boring. So overall, just a great location. I wanted to make sure I hit on that because it's just such a great cause. So you'll want to make sure you check that one out. They have a lot of fundraisers and stuff for autism and those type of things. So just a great place. You want to check it out. And if you want to find a cause to donate, I would definitely suggest Morgan's Wonderland. It's local and the money stays local, which is great. So other things to do that cost money, I mean, really it's the things that you already know. Like you've got the movie theater. If you want stadium seating movie theaters, you do have the Palladium, which is right here in the Rim. Got the Rim and La Cantera here and Six Flags. And then right here is the Palladium. That's a massive movie theater, but it's pretty cool. And then you also have Alamo Drafthouse, which is cool because they bring you, like you could just order stuff and they bring it to you and you sit there. Steve and I really enjoy it. That's off of 410. Like if you're gonna make me watch a kid movie, I at least wanna have like food delivered. So maybe I'm just being bougie, but that's something that I enjoy. So that's gonna be off of 410, the Alamo Drafthouse. And they also have an Alamo Drafthouse off here off 281 as well. So lots of different locations for movies. I'm not even gonna tell you how many movie theaters there are because there's hundreds. I mean, there's so many all over San Antonio, but that's kind of a given as an activity to do inside. And then you also have some parks that you have to pay for admission, but if you wanna beat the heat, you can go to Canyon Lake. You can swim at Canyon Lake for free, but if you don't have a boat, your safest bet is to pay to go to the park at Canyon Lake. And then they have like a little beachfront where you can swim and that type of thing. But you do have Canyon Lake just north of San Antonio. You'll take 281 through 46 into Canyon Lake. And then you also have Boerne Lake, which is over here. Now, if you are a Boerne citizen, you own a home in Boerne, you can get into Boerne Lake for free. If you do not live in Boerne, you can obviously still go to Boerne Lake. You just have to pay an admission fee. And then you also have Lake Medina. Not so much a lake right now. I don't know. We've had a lot of rain the last few weeks, but probably still not enough to fill that lake. But that's pretty low. But who knows? You guys could be watching this video 2 years from now and the lake is full. So there is that lake. We used to go to it all the time until it started getting really low. But it's a great lake because it's not as crowded as Canyon Lake. And then you also have Calaveras and Braunig Lake. Now those lakes, I don't know, Steve probably get mad at me for saying this, but I would not necessarily suggest that you swim in them, but they're big fishing lakes. So Steve loves fishing at Braunig Lake and he grew up going to Calaveras to fish. So great lakes to fish in. It's not free to get in, like you have to pay to park to get in, but other than that, it's free. And then that brings me to all the free things to do in San Antonio, which I love this, guys. Like if I can just get away with not spending any money on the weekend, it is like a total win for me. So parks are huge. If you can see San Antonio, you see all the green, right? When you zoom in, all of this green in the city, these are all parks. San Antonio is known for its parks. It's wonderful. So you want to make sure you take advantage of them. There's so many. So you have McAllister Park here, which is one of your largest parks. And then you have Phil Hardberger over here. And then you have O.P. Schnapel here. And then you have Eisenhower up here. And you have Government Canyon, which is a state park on the northwest side over by Helotes. I would definitely suggest, if you haven't seen our Helotes videos, you definitely want to check this park out. Even if you're just here for a visit. This park is great. It's also open for camping. So if you want to try it out for the weekend for camping, I would definitely suggest it. Steve and I camp here with the kids at least once a year because it's close to home. So if it starts raining or something happens, somebody stubs their toe and they just want to go home, it's easy to pack up and go. But I like that. It's less drama. So Government Canyon is great. They also have dinosaur track trails. So they don't allow dogs on those tracks. You cannot hike them with your pets, but you can with the kids. And the dinosaur tracks, I mean, our kids went nuts the first time they saw it. So it's a great park in general, and they have different trails, but the dinosaur track trail is really cool. So you'll definitely want to do that, but all of these parks are free. So the Government State Canyon, you might have to pay to get in for the day, but McAllister, Phil Hardberger, Eisenhower, O.P. Schnapel, just to name a few, are free. So you can go in and there's so much to do. Like there's playgrounds that are covered. So you've got playgrounds to play in. Some of them have splash pads, not all of them, but they do have, of course, water fountains and bathrooms and stuff like that. And then you have the trails. So you can either bike the trails, you can walk the trails, you can use your scooter. I would definitely do some research on which ones you're gonna do before you take a scooter. Just saying from experience, starting a scooter on pavement and ends in crushed rock is not fun, because then mom and dad are carrying the scooters. So just make sure it's completely paved before you get stuck carrying scooters 2 miles back to the car. So just saying, lots of great things to do: hiking, biking, scootering, all of those things. Plus there's playgrounds and dog parks at all of these parks. So McAllister also has great big open fields. So you can go play soccer, throw the football around, fly a kite. I mean, there's just lots of activities that you can do with all of those parks. Now, some other fun things to do with the kids that are completely free is you can take them downtown. Wouldn't suggest the river walk with the kids. That would stress me out, simply because there's not really railings on that river walk. That would stress me out. So I wouldn't suggest. However, what I would suggest is the Pearl. Let me zoom in and find it. There it is. So I would suggest the Pearl. Now, I know that it says Pearl Brewery. It used to be a brewery, but it's just a really great place to go hang out. It's honestly where the locals go. So you have all the tourists will go to the Riverwalk. The locals go to the Pearl. Lots of great restaurants, but of course, this is not about what you're gonna do, with you. This is more what you're gonna do with the kids. And they have amazing splash pad. Look at these photos. These kids go crazy, I'm telling you. So this is the Pearl, and this looks like it's a Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, they call it market days, and people will come and set up and sell fresh vegetables and beef jerky and oatmeal and all kinds of goods. And in the meantime, the kids go crazy. So they have this really cool splash pad right here in the middle of the square. And then they have grass all the way around it. So it's just a fun time, and it's beautiful. And there's, you can go and you can take them shopping, and you can get food, and you can do lots of things. But honestly, lots of people will just pack a picnic and they'll set up right here in the middle of the lawn and let the kids go crazy and let them wear themselves out. And then if you want to take them down to the Riverwalk, it does attach to the Riverwalk, so you can take them down to that area. But this is like the big lawn. It's turf now. It used to be grass. They just laid turf there, so it's really nice. And then you have the splash pad here. So this is absolutely free. Even in the evenings, like around 7 o'clock during the summer, like 7 or 8, this place will get pretty packed with people getting off of work and not real sure what to do with the kids while it's so hot. So really cool place to hang out. If you are on like a date without the kids, I would definitely suggest grabbing food at the Pearl. Such good restaurants. Like I don't have a bad review for any of the restaurants at the Pearl. So all of those things to do. Another great place to take the kids is Hemisfair Park. So this is it. The Tower of America is Hemisfair Park. And they have like little water fountains all the way around. I wouldn't necessarily take them there. However, they have built this new park right outside of this convention center, right in this area. That is amazing. So if you watch our Don't Move to San Antonio video, I give you some like B-roll and like show you around there. It's absolutely cool. So there's just like little ponds, kind of like there at the Pearl with the splash pads, but they're like ponds of water. I mean, they're 4 to 5 inches deep. Like it's not crazy deep, but it's safe for the kids to just run around, and there's kids there all the time, and their bathing suits, some not in their bathing suits, just splashing around. And then they also have an amazing playground that they just revamped. It's huge. Right in this area. So people don't really drive down this road. I mean, they do, but it's blocked off during the weekend for the most part. So you'll just want to make sure you keep an eye on them, make sure they don't like dart across there without looking, because it is technically a street, but most people don't drive on that street because it's a park. So, but you have this huge, they're calling it a civil park at Hemisfair. That's a new one to me. I didn't know that that's what it was called, but a little water. There's a big open field here for you to play at, and then a playground right there. So let me see if I can find you some photo. There it is, perfect. So this is what I'm talking about, just little ponds. They're like 3-4 inches deep. Then they have this big open field that you can play in. But the kids have so much fun. And this is usually, well, that's when it was all under construction, but it's so much fun if you are a marathon runner. I run half marathons and it usually starts and ends over here. And every time I finish, I'm like so dead. That water looks so great to jump in after I've ran 13 miles, but really great open field. So again, very similar to McAllister in that, like, take a picnic. You can spend the day down at Hemisfair Park between the water ponds here and the playground across the street, which I can show you in a minute. But I mean, if people bring their dogs, kids, sometimes they set up food trucks down there. They have concerts down there. So lots of things to do. I think that was for 4th of July. So it's just a really cool park, and they've completely revamped it. So it wasn't like this 3 years ago. This is all within the last 3 years. They have concerts, like I said. So just a really, really great time. And the best part about it is it's absolutely free. I mean, that's what we want. We want things to do with the kids that doesn't cost us an arm and a leg. This is gonna be your best bet, especially on a summer day when it's so dang hot. All right, so another great thing to do to beat the heat, or activities to do, is to go tubing. So I don't know where you're coming from. I've heard some clients that come from the mountains. When I say tubing, they are picturing something very different than what I'm talking about. This is you sitting in a tube floating down the river. That's all it is. But kids love it, people love it, it's a good time. So it's going to be in New Braunfels. So really just 20, 25 minutes, depending where you're at in San Antonio, could be an hour, just depends on your drive. But New Braunfels is a great place. There's 2 rivers. You have the Guadalupe River and then you have the Comal River. I would suggest tubing down the Comal because it's faster pace. If you're tubing down the Guadalupe, you're not gonna move very far or very fast. But you have a lot of different tubing companies that you can rent tubes from, or you can just go to Walmart, get your tube, blow it up, and go and jump in wherever you want. But it's free, absolutely free. So you have all of these, like this is kind of what it looks like, except it's usually way more packed than that. But they're small little, it's not even like hard rapids. I mean, you're moving at a slow pace, but it's a great time. When Steve and I go, we pack a lunch, and with our tube, we have a tube for our cooler specifically. So we can have our lunch in there, we can pull the rafts over to the side, have a picnic, jump back in the tubes, float back down. It's about 4 hours to tube down the river. You can make that as fast or slow that you want to make it. It's about 4 hours. I'm not gonna lie, we've turned that into an 8-hour trip before. They also have tube chutes. This is just people getting on the river, but this area has a tube chute. So there's like a little slide up here and it shoots you down. People will just hang out here, not necessarily tube down the whole river. They'll just hang out in this like little holding pond area and hang out in the water. But as you can see, there isn't one person in any of these photos that doesn't have a smile on their face. It's super fun. You make the day out of it. I promise you by the end of it, your kids will be really tired, and just make sure you put lots of sunscreen on them. They also have shuttle buses if you want to park. You'll just call me if you're in a tube. I'll give you some tips. So I usually park down at the end where I'm gonna finish. So because I don't like being wet getting on these little shuttles personally. That's just me, it's a preference. So I'll park where I know I'm gonna finish, and then I'll shuttle up to the top of the river and then tube down. Some people do it the opposite order. It doesn't matter. And you don't have to take the shuttle either. I would just suggest it. But you can also just post up, which this is probably not the right words to say, but this is what we say as locals. You can also just post up in the river. So you can just find a spot in the river. Some people will put their tent shades in the river so you have shade, and you just soak in the water. Now, for that, if you really want to get some cold water, when it's really hot outside, I would suggest going west. So the Frio River is in Concan. So if you want to go to get some cold water, which, oh my gosh, in the summer, cold water is so great, I would suggest going out to Concan to the Frio River. Now, it is on the west side. So honestly, San Antonio has grown so fast. I mean, San Antonio is pretty much out to Castroville at this point. Like, you don't really have any like farmland in between San Antonio and Castroville anymore. It's already, San Antonio is starting to grow out that way. So if you're on the west side, this is like an easy drive, 45 minutes to an hour. Concan is a great place because you can go tubing there as well. The river doesn't move as fast. A lot of people will just post up on the side, put their little tent shades. That's what we do. Tent shades in the water and just hang out, barbecue on the side of the river, and you beat the heat. You get out of the heat, and the Frio River, there's a reason why it's called the Frio River. It is cold water. It's cold. It's colder than any other lake here colder than any other river here in the San Antonio area. So that pretty much covers all of the free things to do and the paid things. I know Concan seems pretty far out from San Antonio, but I promise you it's really not that bad. So that is all of the different activities. I covered a lot, probably took longer than I expected to, with some stories filtered in there. But if this was helpful or gave you some ideas of things to do, feel free to drop a comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. There's so much to do in San Antonio. A lot of it doesn't cost money, some of it does, but all of these activities are available to you. It's something that we all enjoy. Steve and I and the kids really enjoy all of the things that we've brought you. We've done all of them and they are great. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys on the next one.